Good morning and welcome to the BAM Blog Breakdown, where Brian Kaiser, Aaron Zambrano, and I, Mike Calderwood, break down expert business blogs so you can better understand and apply the information to your business or life for real results. We have a great show for you today. We have a blog called Decide Before You Decide, put out by Bob Berg on the Bob Berg blog at berg.com. Before we get started and get into the meat and potato of today's show, I want to encourage you to get over to YouTube and give us a subscribe over there. It helps us grow. It keeps you in the communication loop. I also want to thank Evernote for helping us stay organized and collaborate on our notes for each of these shows. So again, I am Mike Calderwood. I am today's lead host, and I'm here with my BAM brothers in crime, my partners in crime, Brian Kaiser and Aaron Zambrano. Aaron, how are you today?
I'm really hungry. I'm ready to eat. That's a fitness guy.
What did I say just a few minutes ago? I thought he was bringing the breakfast.
Oh, man. And I thought Dennis was doing it, and he didn't even show up.
Know, right?
Man.
That's right.
Oh.
So other than hungry, you doing good, man?
So I'm Brian Kaiser, not in the doghouse because apparently, anyways, we're having a good time.
Yeah.
And we hope that you are going to enjoy BAM.
I just remember a couple Thursdays ago when we shot the BAM in the man cave of
the man
Road,
cave,
right?
yes.
There was some breakfast burritos involved with that. Freshly made,
burritos.
By the way. Okay. Yeah. So anyhow, we got a great
I feel
show.
bad now. I'm going to go home and reflect upon my poor planning.
To your closet. All right. So look, guys, today's episode is about getting out of your comfort zone. And what's really cool about this episode and this blog by Bob Berg is two of our favorite contributors, and all of our contributors are our favorite contributors, but our Bob Berg and Jeff Shore. And Bob's blog that we're going to break down today is a review of Jeff Shore's book, Be Bold and Win the Sale. So you get like a 2-for-1 today, all right?
Yeah,
I'm really excited
definitely.
about it. But this, the quick summary of this, and I had a couple big takeaways too, and I'll get to those. But the summary is this: getting out of your comfort zone requires you to make a decision before you're put in a position to make a decision, right? Mm-hmm. It's deciding ahead of time, not trying to make a decision in the moment when you're then uncomfortable, right? When fear and all those other things. And Bob talks about this in depth, and he references Jeff's book, Be Bold and Win the Sale, a lot throughout this blog, but he gives some practical tips of his own, as well as tips directly from Jeff's book, and then adds his own takeaways, kind of his own review. So this is kind of a review of the review today. So that's kind of the summary of what this blog post is all about. We always encourage you, get over to berg.com, go to the blog, and read it for yourself, because it is a very powerful, very short. This one's really short. It's like a book review, but it's really powerful. But I did have a big takeaway.
Bob has a tendency to do that.
Most
short,
of the contributors that we do
no.
that. So my takeaway was, and this is a direct quote from the blog, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to cheat, okay? Is when the decision is already made in advance, and that is key, you won't have to think. You'll just take the correct action. It's not to say that it'll be easy. It will still take commitment and practice. And I don't want you to miss the practice piece. If you think about an athlete or something like that, they don't think in the moment. They act. Mm-hmm. They act and react and react and react and react in microseconds throughout a hockey game, basketball game, whatever the situation, because they've practiced. They've taken the decision-making out of it. They just act based on the situation.
Right.
Any big takeaways, Aaron? I
think the big thing for me was just understanding what the normal process of thinking is that most people go through. And first, decision making, I guess you can say. First, they experience discomfort, and then they think, and then they have an action. And I think that was extremely powerful for me, because when you can understand what somebody's normal way of thinking is, now where pretty much everybody's going to start off that when you start working with them. And you know how to change that. So I think that was a real big key. And you said it, decide first and then experience the discomfort and then allow your actions to occur.
So switch it.
Yep.
Brian? Or as I put here in the notes, Brand?
Yeah, that's it. It's because I forgot the breakfast.
Because we're all hungry.
So my biggest thing, I read this blog, and I also, I just did a webinar with another one of our contributors, James Arthur Ray, where he talked about some of these similar things and pointed out that a lot of us in sales, a lot of people perceive themselves as being high performers. The people that are high performers do exactly what Bob and Jeff are pointing out here, is they make quick, decisive decisions with an intentional action to follow up. So it's not that they're just, going into a situation as the salesperson, unaware. Like Aaron put it out, they've already gone in, they've already thought this out, because the high performers already gone through the whole scenario in their head. So they already go in with the intention of solving something for the client. And how many people go into a situation, well, I'm going to go in and just kind of see what they need, or I'm going to go in and just kind of feel them out. Well, when you read the blog and you follow up with Jeff's book, they're saying, no, you go in with the decision made that this is what you're solving for the client, and this is how you're going to do it. And then when the questions come up, your answers just roll out, and you come across very confident, very professional, not slick and sleazy like some of the salespeople with the catchy lines, but with actual application to the product or service you're selling them. So now they feel comfortable, and they got instantaneous trust that you're doing for them what's in their best interest, and not just trying to pass a product off to get a quick buck. So, quick, decisive decisions with intentional action really is a big takeaway from mine here.
I love it. Aaron, you got a good perspective with this one. So let's get into Aaron Zambrano, iFit perspective, iFit model perspective, and hear what you have to say kind of about this, because I think I know most of the stuff we talk about rolls over. Everything. I think this one really rolls over.
It's like common sense. Like I actually don't even have to talk about it. I could just walk away right now, because people can see it and they can directly apply it without me even saying anything. But I want to kind of tell a few stories. Well, first of all, the very first sentence that the whole entire blog starts off with a sentence, and I'll read it. It says, "You, I, we are all addicted ... to comfort." Right? And so that piece alone helped me. Again, it's another thing of knowing where everybody's starting off. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to, have a 2-hour conversation with them to know that they're already addicted to comfort. So that, knowing is half the battle, right? You can use all the cliches that we want, but in any time that you want to solve a problem, or any time that you want to overcome something, the first step is to first identify the problem, but admit that you have a problem. You think about AA, right? You got to admit that you're an alcoholic, or you have drug dependency, or whatever it is. You have to admit it. Well, in this case, this is already a fact. So you don't even have to admit it. Just accept it. Accept that we're all addicted, and we're all addicted to being comfortable. And so that is kind of the biggest thing. So the first step of any program, or the hardest step of any program, is getting started. Well, we already know that we're addicted, and it's much easier to get started once we can accept that first step. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
The next thing is kind of talked about the normal. I kind of talked about the normal decision process. And again, this is another one of those things where it's just a fact. Normally what people do is they feel discomfort, then they make a decision, and then the result of their action is usually not what they intended it to be, and they're not getting desired results, right? Mm-hmm. So I kind of that to me was everything. There's a quote, and I can't remember, Stonewall Jackson or somebody back in history said that you never make decisions based on emotions, and if you go do decisions based on emotions quotes, you're going to get like 9,000 of them. Okay, yeah. So that's also a fact, that you never make decisions based on emotions, and when you're going through this discomfort or this uncomfortable period, you're going to get emotional, whether it's a really high, excited type of emotion, or a really negative type of emotion. And we'll just talk about exercise for a second. I mean, how many times, this, Ryan, and maybe you've experienced it, but how many times have you said, I'm going to wake up early in the morning, first thing, and I'm going to work out, but, I'm going to see how I feel first, and you wake up and you're like, I'm still tired.
So you left yourself that out with, I'll see how I feel first.
Yeah. Jeff actually talks about this either in the book, or I went to Jeff's one of Jeff's seminars, which was really good. And he talked about, this doesn't need to be complicated, right? Mm-hmm. The simplicity of it is, and this is why we're addicted to comfort, and this is kind of what you're saying here is, I look around and I go, well, you know what? The recliner is more comfortable than the treadmill. Mm-hmm. And a burger is more comfortable than broccoli. And so we go to the things that we're more comfortable with, and
especially throw some bacon on the burger.
Throw some bacon on the burger, right? So, but yeah, just trying to hit your point home.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I mean, a lot of people have even said, well, I'm going to go through my work day and see how I feel. And if I feel like working out afterwards, I'll go work out. Well, you got to make that decision before you go through your work day. You've got to make that decision before you wake up in the morning. You're going to go, set out your clothes in the morning if you're going to do a morning workout, or set that time aside after work that you're going to do it. So that was a big thing for me. But I kind of have a story. So I was at I've kind of made a pretty decent name for myself in the fitness modeling world and competition world. Matter of fact, I just a couple weeks ago came back from Fitness Universe, which is a huge fitness competition. But I was talking to a colleague of mine, and I asked him, I was like, how many people do you have at the show? And he's like, I got 2. And then he asked me, how many people do you have at the show? I was like 15. And he's like, how do you have so many? I wish I could get a lot of my clients to listen to me, because they don't listen to me. And he's like, how do you do it? And I was like, I don't know. Then I thought about it for a while. Then I read this blog and it hit me. And the reason why is when people come into me, and this happens to me all the time, people come into me, aspiring models, aspiring fitness competitors, and say, I want to do it. What they always say is, a lot of them will say this is, I want to see if I can get in shape first, and then I'll decide to do. Then I'll make a decision whether I want to become a fitness model or do a competition. And the first thing I say is, no. You're going to decide right now. Do you want to be a fitness model or do you not want to be a fitness model? It's that simple. And if you don't want to be a fitness model, great. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to coach you to not be a fitness model. But if you're going to do it, you got to make that decision right now. We're not going to wait and see.
Yeah.
So again, you're not going to go through the discomfort, then make the decision, and then see the action. You're going to make the decision first. Go through the discomfort and then have that action. Yeah. So that's kind of the way that I saw it. It really related to a lot of the things that I do and a lot of the things. And it's like I said, I could have walked away and any Tom, Dick, and Harry could have looked at this and applied it to exercise. But I just wanted to add a little story just to kind of.
Yeah, I like that. That really, I think, ties a lot of this together, because for the listeners, take that same concept: sales, follow up, buying groceries. Right? I'm trying to eat healthier. Well, it kind of starts with your grocery list, right? Don't put the stuff in your house, right? It's all predetermining. I'm going to get a few things and try eating healthy. You're either going to go to the grocery store and make that decision. I'm going to, maybe check into follow up, or, no, you're either going to follow up or you're not. There's no half pregnant. Right? So I like that. I like that story. I think that really, for me, actually, hit this whole point home really well. No, it kind of makes me want to change my Advantage application.
Well, we'll get into the 3 keys, and we'll see if we have time to. So, in going through and reading the blog, what I really got out of it was, if you're really wanting to become the professional and be the person you want to be, the first thing is, he calls it the decision. I'm going to call it something stronger than that. I'm going to call it a commitment. You're going to have to make a commitment, because it's going to be a commitment to your decision. Because once you decided that you're going to get up at 5 a.m. and you're going to go to the gym and you're going to do this workout 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now it's a commit. You have to make the commitment. It's not give yourself the out. Well, if I feel okay in the morning, if I get a good night's sleep, if the dog doesn't bark in the middle of the night and wake me up, okay, there's no excuse. You're committed. You're getting up. You're going. There is nothing standing in your way. And I think a lot of people will make a decision with an out. So they make a decision, and then they have the out. The plan B, so I'm saying, and from the blog, what I got from it is, you got to commit to the decision. So that's the first of the 3 keys: make the commitment. Next is, and I put it in real big letters, practice. How do you practice? Well, okay, we'll use Aaron's example of getting up and going to the gym. We can use Jeff's example of going on the sales calls. You can pick whatever you want. Okay, do it. Like, you made a commitment to it. Get up, go, do it. The only way it's going to get better, the only way you're going to get better, the only way it's going to get easier and become part of what you do, so that, as Jeff and Bob put into this whole blog piece, it's natural. Like, the answers the process becomes something that you know. I mean, Aaron and I come out of the health and fitness and coaching world, so we both train athletes. Well, you train athletes and you train them and you make them do these routines, right? And they do the routines, and they do the routines over and over hundreds of times. You may vary it a little bit, like throw in some different variables, maybe change the way they're doing this, change the way they're doing that. But it's so that when they get in the game, it's automatic. No, nothing, like there's not a scenario. You try as the coach to think of every possible scenario and you train them for that. Like in their mind, they're ready for anything that anyone would throw at them. And, if you go back and you talk to people that like Bo Eason that got to work with Jerry Rice's big thing was every time he went to practice, he was the first one there, got there before anyone else. He practiced harder than anyone else. He stayed after practice and practiced more and had a specific cool down routine to rejuvenate his body for the next day. But he told people when he was interviewed, well, I practice like that because every time these hands touch a football, this body's in an end zone near you. Okay, that's what's happening. I'm trained for any scenario that happens because I'm practicing that way. And I think that's what this blog is about. If you're going to be a good salesperson, or a good coach, whatever it is, make the commitment to it and then practice it every day.
And I think another thing is you, at the beginning, your practice doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you're doing it, as long as you're going out there and getting it done.
Leads exactly my third key.
You allow yourself to get better. Mm-hmm. So, if somebody's going out and exercising, for example, not to just keep beating that, but if somebody's going out to exercise, they don't have to be perfect and have the most intense and the craziest workout the first day. Even if they're 15 minutes late, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but eventually over time, you can get perfect.
And that leads into the third key is keep learning. Keep learning. You made a decision. You made the commitment. You're practicing your commitment. The only way that you're going to become a master of that commitment, salesperson, business person, fitness, health, your relationship, whatever it is going to have to keep learning. You're going to have to keep growing yourself personally. And that's what you're saying. You got out there, you made the effort, you're doing, okay? You're not going to do perfect the first time. I mean, if you go back and we use Jerry Rice, if you go back and look at him, he came from a really small town. He didn't play at a big college. He wasn't the top draft pick. And yet he's number one.
You've been listening to the Mental Fitness Challenge.
A little bit, yes. And also,
I heard that story.
Yeah.
Where did I hear that story?
And I actually was coached by Jerry Rice's coach in college, just as a side note.
As a side note, see, and
Archie Cooley.
Yeah, and I also heard the story again from Bo Eason when I was out with Brendan Bouchard at the Speakers Academy there. So, his thing is he's still 50 touchdowns, 60 touchdowns ahead of the top of anyone. Yeah, and if we go look at the top of anybody in our field, we go look at Bob, we go look at Jeff, we go look at James Arthur, we go look at any of these people that we break down their material and they're at the top of their field. The reason, if you go and look at it, is they've never quit learning. They made a decision and made a commitment, and that's what they do. And then they practice it daily. They practice everything they do daily. So we're trying to take this blog and break it down for people to understand and get. And it boils down to, if you ask me, the three things: decide and commit, practice it every day, and never stop learning. You got to keep growing yourself and keep learning, because you're not going to be perfect at it the first day in the gym. You're not going to be perfect the first sales call you go on. Yeah. In fact, the first one you go on, you're probably going to goof up really bad, and you're probably going to walk out of there going, oh, wow, did I really do that? But you did it, and you can learn and go practice again.
Yep.
Learn,
the
go
fourth
practice
key,
again.
I'll add a fourth key. Make sure you have Joe Montana and Steve Young as your quarterback.
That's true. You're going to have a good quarterback, which, we can go ahead and equate that is you're going to have to get a good coach, the right coach, because that would be the same thing as what he's talking about. Who's a player on the team that's helping you with the learning? So, Mike, that's my three keys.
I love it. Let me bring this into some application. Some of this is going to be a repeat of what we've talked about, but it's important for us to kind of hit those points home and give you the application points. So really what we want you to apply is the skill of being bold. And if you read the blog from Bob Berg or the book from Jeff Shore, you'll understand that boldness isn't about arrogance. It's not about manipulation. It's not about that. It's about your own internal ability to overcome comfort and live more in your discomfort zone than you do in your comfort zone. So the first application point is to commit to a couple of changes with what you were talking about, and which was your big takeaway, was the change from discomfort, decision, and action to decision, discomfort, action. What did I just say? What I'm saying is be bold and find some areas in your life right now where change has not happened because of you staying in your comfort zone, and make a decision now. Make a decision now of what you're going to do next time that discomfort hits. Mm-hmm. How will you handle that? What action will you take? Because if you wait for the discomfort to hit, then you decide, you'll decide what you've always decided, and it won't work. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if you have a problem with personal accountability while you're trying to overcome these challenges, get an accountability partner. A coach would be great, an accountability partner at minimum. This is not your buddy who pets you on the back and says it's okay. It's somebody that will kick you in the butt. Okay?
It's not the cry on the shoulder friend?
No, it's not the cry on the shoulder friend, okay?
I'm out of luck.
But at minimum, you need an accountability partner. But understand that the accountability is 100% your responsibility, not your accountability partner's responsibility.
Right.
Okay? Third thing is, and this kind of goes back to something we talked about in a previous breakdown, was associating with the right people. Okay? When you get around people that are living outside of their comfort zone, you're more apt to follow suit. Okay? You can do that by joining mastermind groups, think tanks, associations of like-minded business people or athletes or any kind of high performers. And then you said it in your segment, and I'm just going to say it again. Practice. Boldness is a skill set and a mindset. Any skill set requires practice to get good at it. It just does. So if you start to shift from discomfort, decision, action to decision, discomfort, action, and you fall short sometimes, that's okay. Keep practicing. It will become ingrained in you. It'll become a way of you to move forward in all decisions, in all areas of discomfort. I learned a lot from this blog.
This was a good blog.
This was a good blog.
It's a good blog. It's like the two, like you said, it's a twofer.
It's like this long. It was just packed with stuff. Guys, what did I miss? What did I learn? Let's hit this puppy home.
I think you nailed it. I mean, just all these things that you can apply to your life, and just decide before you experience anything. Make that decision, clear of thought, clear of any emotion, and just go out and make it happen.
Awesome.
And I just to build on what Aaron said, once you made the decision, then commit to that. That's your decision. That's what you're doing. What's it going to take to follow through on that decision? Like Aaron said, you're getting up to go to the gym, put your clothes out, have them ready to go. There is not anything hindering you.
It's the little pieces that make the bigger part of the commitment easier, isn't it?
Right. It's and everyone tells you, the book tells you,
out, buying the right food.
And what is the practice? The practice is part of the practice is the preparation, right?
Yeah.
So if
you're do check adjust.
Yeah. So if you're gonna follow through with these decisions and you're gonna make the commitment, then make sure that you've prepared yourself so that you can have the greatest chance of being successful. And the one other thing, get a coach.
Yep.
If you're not going to get a coach, at least, like you said, join a mastermind group or a think tank, something where there's other people you can bounce off of and you can also draw energy from, because changing a mindset takes a lot of repetition.
Yep.
Changing a habit and building a skill set takes a lot of repetition. So if you're not going to do those things, then you can make these decisions. You can, change your thinking and as best you can, but you're always going to fall short, and you're going to say, hey, I did what Bam said, and it's just not working.
Yeah. You got to have the right team around you, right? I mean, think about if Jerry Rice was on a terrible team. He probably wouldn't have, 175 touchdowns or whatever he has. He probably wouldn't have that many. Now, he probably would have over 100 and still be, one of the greatest, but he probably wouldn't break the records. Let's look at a parallel. Barry Sanders, for example. Mm-hmm. This is not a sports show, but it could be. But look at Barry Sanders for a second. He was not on the best team, but he was and arguably the best running back ever. Who holds the record of most rushing yards? Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith was on a hell of a team. He had a great team around him that allowed him to excel and go beyond what his normal ability was, because he wasn't the fastest. Mm-hmm. He didn't have all this stuff. So you got to have a good team.
So who's on your team?
Yeah, that's
who's on your team? I love it, guys. This has been another Bam Slam home run. It's, you know what? I love these breakdowns. I really do. And Bob provided with Jeff Shore's kind of collaboration here. Really, one of the boldest ones we've done, I think.
Yeah.
And it was about boldness, and it was really a grand slam. So every Thursday, every Monday, 11:30 a.m., join us as we break down expert business blogs to help you better understand the information to apply it to your business or life for real results. Again, get over to YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Do that like right now. There should be a button somewhere where you're watching this video.
It's easy.
Hit that
Just
button.
click it.
Just click it, okay?
Bottom left-hand corner.
Bottom
Right
left-hand corner. As a matter of
Aaron
fact,
knows.
right there.
It's gonna be over there somewhere.
Over there. Right by Brian's leg.
There you go.
Thank you to Evernote, keeping us organized. Thanks to the author, the source. If you'd like anything that you heard, you want more information, you feel like you need to connect with Bob Berg, or in this case, even Jeff Shore, let us know. We have a personal relationship with each of them. One of us can get you personally and professionally introduced to them so that they can help you with whatever needs you might have. Bob and Jeff are two of my favorites. When I think of boldness and I think of leadership, those two guys definitely come to mind. Guys, look, we get it. Building a business isn't easy, but you don't have to do it alone. And if you want to gain a real advantage in your business, if you want to 10x your efforts and results, you have to do what other high performers are doing. You have to build your skill sets and your mindsets simultaneously so that you can grow into the leader that your business needs for you to have maximum results. If you're up to the challenge, and as an entrepreneur, I know you are up to the challenge, check out our Mental Fitness Challenge. It's a 90-day challenge put together by 7 of the top leadership gurus in the world, and it was designed for you to experience change in your life, in your wellness, in your faith, in your business, whatever area you're looking for change. This challenge will help you. The links for the Mental Fitness Challenge are below in the description box. Check that out. For us, finally, we are out. If you need any help with your business, if you need any help with your fitness, get in touch with us. We can help. We're here to serve. We leave this BAM Slam asking you, how can we help you? For now, we're out.
See ya.